Today is Friday, February 27th. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Welcome to CityCast Denver, the show about the city where there's a new music festival in town, and it's named after Paul's favorite piece of public art. Paul, you excited for Blucifer Fest?
French fry fest? French fry stack?
French fry articulated wall festival? Fest?
No, Blucifer is number one, of course. Did I see that this festival isn't coming? Blucifer's first rodeo? Yes, it is a great name. I want to be involved. I also resent them because I had this idea last year.
A music festival?
Not music. Okay. I mean, at my version, there might have been music.
What kind of festival was it going to be, Paul?
A festival dedicated to Blucifer. A Blucifest.
Well,
where people could come and like dress up as him and like, you know, celebrate him.
Do you burn like a gigantic Blucifer at the end? Like
an effigy of Blucifer?
Maybe. Hell yeah. That sounds great.
Well, they announced it earlier this month. I feel like their Instagram said it was going to be the same weekend as UMS. And then Patty Westward reported they have since changed that and it just says July.
Yeah, we should be there. Are you kidding me? Bree should have a stage. A night of Bree curated music at Blucifer's first rodeo.
You're ruining all chances of this happening, Paul. You already blew up their spot.
Maybe. Well,
okay, so if
this is still in the show, sorry, everybody.
If it's allegedly the weekend of UMS, Justine, what do you think? Do you think that this is
UMS still happening?
Oh, girl.
Yeah, I know, like,
it moved to
behind on
Rhino.
this one?
It moved to
the Rhino
the area
bid
people call
bought
Rhino.
in. I don't know if they bought the exact stake that Youth on Record sold, but the Rhino bid is now co-owner with two parts.
Oh my God! Wow, This is the first time I'm hearing this.
It's kind of interesting.
I should know better.
I think I've said this before. You make the festival you want to see. There's plenty of room for all kinds of festivals. I love it personally.
Your neighborhood could be a part. You could have a UMS event at the Tix Club.
Ooh, no, I'm going to go out of town that weekend.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Just kidding. No, actually, I mean,
That's what my friend said who lives next to Squirm Gallery and Blob. She lives in the one house that exists there. She was like, I am Airbnb-ing this thing that weekend and getting the F out of here.
No,
my
thought one day I was like, ooh, could I rent out my place for the weekend and make some money?
You could.
Maybe,
You could.
Go to the suburbs to Gio's house for the weekend and hide away.
Make a little bit of money.
Did they talk about doing it on the Brighton side too, or just the Larimer side?
I think it was just the Larimer side, but I don't.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, I mean, for now, for sure. I mean, Brighton Boulevard it's like Broadway almost, but worse in terms of how fast people go.
Oh, yeah.
I would
like
not.
a highway.
Down there, not fun.
No, I wouldn't.
No.
What I found interesting about Blucifer Fest, though, is they're going to have, it's concentrated, it seems to be on South Broadway, but they've got some other locations as well, like Wax Trax and, although they have that Wax Trax Bazaar up the street, but they also had 7 Circle on there, which I thought was cool. So maybe a couple satellite spots too. We'll see. Well, it's Friday. We're in the I don't even know what I'm doing right now.
It's going to be a weird show today, folks.
I know.
We're all in a
I'm
weird
so
mood.
sorry if I throw up. I'm sorry. I feel so bad. We're looking back at the big news of the week.
Dramatic tension.
I know. I'm sorry.
Will Bree survive?
Oh.
I almost asked Jacob to pull a trash can over here.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
So
I won't barf on your mics, you guys. I promise. Anyway.
Jacob's psyched about it. He'd be like, that'd be a great clip. That's going on Instagram.
It's Friday. We're looking back at the news of the week, from data center drama to Douglas County's new theft prevention policy. We're coming to you on video from the beautiful Dude IDK studios in 5 Points. You've already heard his voice. Producer Paul Karolyi is here. Hi, Paul.
Hey, Bree. What's up?
And our green chili correspondent, Justine Sandoval, is also here. Hi, Justine.
Hey, ¿qué pasa?
¿Qué pasa? I love that you've been in campaign world so much that you didn't know about the UMS.
I know. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay.
You know, there's only so many things you can think about at one time.
Well, there's always a surprise in my neighborhood I don't know about popping up. So
that's the next one. Well, let's get to our top story. Data centers. This has been a huge topic. Not just, I mean, this week it really came to a head for sure, but it's been something that folks have been talking about, I mean, for months here in Denver, other places, a long time. But earlier this week, Mayor Johnston put a moratorium on new data centers, which he told us would be for only a few months. A town hall was already planned in Elyria-Swansea prior to his announcement, and Xcel Energy, Denver Water, and CoreSite, the company that owns the data center there in progress, were supposed to be there. Denver Water, Xcel, and Councilman Darrell Watson showed up along with hundreds of community members, but CoreSite did not. In a statement emailed to Denverite, CoreSite said, given some developments over the weekend and in the interest of safety of our CoreSite team, we have made the hard decision to refrain from participating in tonight's community meeting. What do you both think about this aspect of it, of CoreSite not showing up?
I think it's BS. I mean, when I was at the town hall.
You were there.
Yeah. And there's just like all of the questions the community had are questions that CoreSite can only answer. So, you had representatives for Xcel and Denver Water and the city up there, and they don't know exactly how much water this thing needs to cool or how much energy it's going to use. Those are like data. That's data that CoreSite has.
Mm-hmm.
And so they kind of like left all those people up there hanging, for the room to ask them questions that, they do have things that they should answer for and have, more data about. But it really is CoreSite who has that information.
Yeah. That seemed like a lot of the frustration, I think, from folks was the fact that they just weren't there to answer those basic questions.
Well, and the idea is their safety. I'm like, that's kind of like.
Yeah, it's
that
suspicious.
Felt a little loaded.
Yeah.
It felt a little loaded too.
Are there
to me.
really death threats? That's what I said. I was texting with Sam Brash, who wrote this story for Denver, and I was like, it's a hot topic, but it's not that hot. And he was like, I don't know, man. People are pretty fired up about this. So I'm wondering, like, let's say we give them the benefit of the doubt. Are people really that fired up that there's like threats of violence over this data center? Because that would be crazy.
Sorry, Justine, go.
I just think people threaten violence a lot for a lot of things. So I don't doubt that there could be that type of tension. But I will tell you, when I found out about this whole thing, it was from like my elders. My Auntie Debbie is like, Hita, did you know this thing is going up by the park? And they were the ones who reached out to me because they are like the people who own property and stuff in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
A lot of elders, they found out about it and they were the ones who were pissed. And like, that's how I found out this was going on.
And I would just say, I think there's a difference between online threats and what the reality is of who's showing up there, who's organizing. And I've never seen GES Coalition make threats to people. So I think that it felt loaded to use that language about the community.
They were blessing people as they went.
Well, they're not saying it about the community. They're saying there were safety concerns. We don't know what they're saying.
Oh, yeah.
That's not fair to say that they're accusing the community of threats. We don't know.
Okay. I mean, I just think they didn't show up, and we don't know what those safety threats were. So, this is a community organized event.
Was it a community organized event?
I believe it was. I got
so what
wind
I
of
heard
it
in
from
the meeting
GDS.
is Councilman Watson said that this meeting had been in the works
for 4 weeks.
For 4 weeks. But I heard from community members that said that this actual meeting only came about because the community has been pushing for it. And so that it wasn't like a planned, we're going to talk to you thing. It's more of the pressure came from the community to have this meeting.
Interesting.
I think maybe CoreSite, my theory is that they realize that they have a huge PR problem right now going on and they need to step back and talk with some lawyers and some people before they stand up in front of that room.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
So I was looking back to see.
They absolutely do. I mean, think about it from their perspective. I hate being this guy every time because I can tell which way the winds are blowing right now in the city. This is not a popular company, not a popular place. But think about their perspective. They're a company that, they have done the thing that is so difficult to do. They have created a business model that works. They're making money. They're following the rules. They have built now 3 data centers. They're building their 3rd data center in the city. They're profiting off of this. They have clients. And then the city comes along one day and says, no more. Moratorium. You don't get to do business here anymore.
But what I heard is that the mayor they were in favor of this. They asked for $9 million in tax credits for this company, and council said no. And so this company, had they were zoned for it in that area so they could still build anyway. So that's why this thing happened without any approval.
Wait, I don't understand.
So the mayor is saying this moratorium, we're going to stop because we don't know enough. We need to assess the situation.
Yeah.
They're saying that we didn't even really understand this data center was going up. We don't know. This was just happening. And the community is saying, no, you knew this data center was going in. Sure. You went and asked for the $9 million in tax credits. So I think people feel that there was a secret backdoor deal between maybe the mayor and these companies to get this done without letting the community have full transparency of the community of what was going on.
Well, so the mayor he'd be issuing the moratorium, but then as a way of saying like, hey, I recognize that this is a burden on you, Corsight. You're going to get a $9 million tax credit.
No, I think what's happening, what was
deal?
happening is that people are saying that the mayor has said, oh, like they're trying to act like they don't know what was happening with this or they weren't involved in this. But the community is saying that they were very aware of this going in and that they were trying to fast track it before the community was aware.
Well, I don't know about fast track it, but yeah, we were all aware. We could see it.
Oh yeah, well it's huge.
Yeah,
like I finally
it's been permitted for a long time.
But I
mean,
think
this is not a surprise.
Well, the community feels like it is because there were these town halls and these conversations that just there's obvious. I think that there's a huge lack of communication between the city because whenever there's a project that goes up and it's like already being built, community members are like, hey, what's this? Like at no point in all of the conversations of this thing going up, we're like, is there any like door knocking campaign to the community?
Okay,
is there any conversation?
This is where we get into the NIMBYism question.
Yeah.
And I know that that's an allegation. And I think that's a loaded term. It's maybe not appropriate here because this place does have a lot of things people are concerned about. The environmental stuff, that's real. But not every business is obligated to do a door knocking campaign when they go in. If there's an ice cream shop opening on Colfax, the government does not require them to go door to door across Cap Hill and
the
say,
bars that come in have to knock on my door and ask to open a bar.
Do they really?
Yeah.
There's a public hearing. There's one for the liquor license for the place on my block that my neighbors have been fighting.
They have to knock on your door, knock on everyone's door and tell you that they're building a bar and that there's going to be a public hearing and you have your chance
for every bar. I don't think that's true.
If it's within,
I've had it for 2 different bars.
Yeah, I get it all the time because
house.
I'm right there in Rhino, so everybody's opening a bar. Like when Hello Gorgeous opened up, they came and knocked on.
Is it when they're applying for a liquor license, like a new liquor license?
Yes.
Okay, so that's interesting. So maybe that's the kind of process they'll set up with this new regulatory structure.
I think it's because these people have been screaming in this neighborhood forever. Like, please stop with the environmental burden that we're taking from all these industries. And I just think that the city would be more aware of that because so many people run on this. We're going to protect Globeville, Elyria-Swansea. That there would be an extra level of awareness about how they do things and how they need to absolutely bring the community into the fold on everything in there because these people know. I was at this town hall and the abuelas, the community members, they spit facts. They're like, according to an EPA study in 2001, the lead contaminants increase. They have the data.
Yeah, basically everyone in this neighborhood is probably a PhD level climate scientist now.
All of them.
After all the fighting, the Purina plant.
The neighbors, the
Purina
activists that have been
the I-70 expansion, the National Western expansion.
They're in there.
We should tap into that knowledge. The city should be, that's a resource.
No, these people should be advising the city on all this because they know everything. They know all of the EPA reports. They know all the parts per million contaminants in the air and they know.
I want to go back. I just keep thinking about Sam Brash's reporting last fall where he talked to a doctor at the Tepeyac Clinic, which is right there, who said she had no idea. She assumed it was the long-awaited senior affordable housing that was being built right next to them. And it wasn't until she saw a post on social media that she realized what it was. So the community clearly was not included in the conversation at all. And I think at this point in time, with the conversations that we're having across the country about data centers, there should be a community conversation about one of those going into your neighborhood.
That's the other. This is it's easy to say in retrospect, but the thing is the conversation about data centers has really accelerated in the last 6 months. A year ago, someone says there's a data center going into your neighborhood, you'd be like, I don't know what that is. I have no idea what to talk that. If you said, hey, there's a data center being built in Elyria-Swansea, people would be like, okay, great. At least it's not another Suncor. Cool.
I don't know if they would say that. I think especially in GS, they might ask what it is because they've had this experience.
Literally, there is one, the mayor told us yesterday, there's one built downtown. There's one built on 17th Street. No one asked any questions.
But those aren't next to that's what I thought.
They're close to schools. They're close to hospitals.
I think the idea for GS2 is this promise that everyone has that we're going to make the neighborhood less industrial, beautify it for people. And then they put something new in. And no, a lot of people thought it was a senior housing. If you, one of the things that Excel mentioned in the meeting is that they were building the substation there. And they're building the substation because the city is like, hey, we're going to start building more housing here. Like they're going to start to develop more and they're trying to create more density there on the A line. And instead of that happening for the substation, people are like, oh, this AI data center is going in. So now there's like this conspiracy theory that Excel built that substation for the data center when I don't think that's the case. That substation was going in. But it's like the plan and the community is thinking like, oh, they're building more housing here. We're finally getting these things we've been asking for. And they're like, nope, just kidding. This big data center's coming in.
This conspiratorial thinking, the solution for this is transparency and communication. And that is CoreSite's failure this week. You know, again, I don't know what kind of threats they saw. Maybe that's real. I'd love to see the information on that as well. But they had an opportunity to quell these fears. And they still do. You know, I've asked for a tour. The mayor said he'd facilitate it. I'm going to follow up on that. I think it would be appropriate for them to let people in and see what's really going on and what the impacts are, because people are really curious. And if they got a good story to tell, I'd love to hear it.
I think the community would feel the same. I think that's a good point, Paul. It's about transparency, and that has not been a protocol so far.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to get conspiracies, and you're going to get more worried feelings, and you're going to get more antagonism
and
more
in their neighborhood.
Can we talk one quick? How many people were at this thing? Because we wrote in our newsletter, I wrote dozens. I watched the videos and it looked like dozens of people to me. It was a way of being very general about it. And then we got a complaint. Someone was like, no, it was way more than that. How many people were there?
There were a couple hundred people there. There was hundreds.
Okay.
I would definitely, because they filled up the whole room. There was an overflow room and then there were people outside.
Okay.
Like knocking on the windows. And
I saw that.
Hundreds. Hundreds of people there. Overflow, chanting.
That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people.
Well, the mayor is the other piece. We could talk about the mayor.
You want to talk about the mayor?
Well, yeah, because then we didn't talk about yesterday. Like people are really upset about data centers, but like what they don't see is the other side of the issue. I thought it was really interesting in our interview when I pressed him on like, this is basically saying a business can't operate here. Denver already has a reputation among business leaders of being anti-business. So are you concerned about sending that message and losing trust with the business community? People who might start businesses, create jobs, help people have opportunities to have a livelihood, grow the city, thrive. And he said, I've gotten a lot of calls about that in the last few days. And that is not being discussed. And I think that's a real thing.
He's gotten a lot of calls from business leaders.
I think that's what he was saying.
This.
Yeah.
Okay.
About the fact that he has said to an industry, you are not allowed to operate here until I say so.
It's just already such a big conversation about this particular industry, though. So I'm kind of not surprised that that's happening. But I don't know. I mean, again, this is not a new conversation. It's newer to Denver, but it's been happening all over the place. What are these things?
I mean, recently, like I said, in a year, we don't know what industry is going to be in the eyes of the progressive activists that are going to be pressuring the mayor. We don't know. And so now, but we do know that the mayor is open to doing this, that he thinks this is an option. And when business leaders, and I'm sorry, I know this is unpopular for a lot of people to say this, but when business leaders see a decision like this, they're thinking, well, it could be me.
And I think about community members saying, well, it could be us. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the other side of it, is that's where this transparency part is really important. And if the business community cared about that, then that would be a top priority.
They should have showed up.
Yeah.
They should have showed up.
I mean, or CoreSite should have did the door knocking if they weren't doing something that they felt like people weren't going to be happy about it.
Yeah, there's so much misconception, I think, or just like misunderstanding or just a lack of complete knowledge of how any of this works. And everyone just knows data centers use a lot of water. And Colorado's in a drought right now, and people's minds start to go around all of this, just not having any knowledge of this. Like, and it's not just running, your ChatGPT. Like the internet functions from these massive data centers.
Yeah.
Like
the phones,
their clients are Zoom, NVIDIA, Dropbox, AT&T. So it's not like
and it's things we're using. I think a lot of people too. I've seen the narrative from some people online that are like, well, the people in the neighborhood just don't understand what these data centers do. Or they don't understand
I
it.
don't think that's
I'm
the
like,
problem.
I don't think that's the case
I was
at
like,
all.
let me tell you, all my aunts and
Yeah.
everyone's making AI character. They love AI. Okay.
People know. People understand.
People know.
what it
They
is now.
understand it. It's just, where do these centers go as we have a need for them and these companies? Where do we put them? And I just think it's, you have a neighborhood that people have been organizing in strong for many years and have been pushing back. This just was like, you should have seen that this was going to come out the way it did.
That's true. I think I'm maybe letting them off the hook a little bit too much. When you make an investment in a new business, you got to be aware of the regulatory uncertainty and you got to account for that. And that's what we're seeing now is changes, and that they could have accounted for that. So I don't want to be too soft on
information is
that.
out there. I mean, it's
It wasn't
long
a year
been
ago.
reported.
It wasn't a year ago.
But I'm saying the information about the community's pushbacks on all of these things is well documented because, why pick that spot then?
Yeah. Most polluted zip code of the nation. It's been talked about a lot in the last 10 years. The activism
it's not a secret.
in the neighborhood has increased. Everybody knows that is paying attention.
I wonder if they just didn't even think there would be an issue, because the impact is the water usage and I guess there's air quality from the big generators.
And the humming from the
sound.
generators.
Humming from the generators, the sound would be irritating. And then the power costs, which is what Trump is concerned about.
Yeah, I was going to say
He mentioned
there's
this in the State of the Union. Did
I
you
have
hear this?
Can I read the quote from him really quick? He said, "We have an old grid. It could never handle the kind of numbers, the amount of electricity that's needed. So I'm telling companies they can build their own plant and produce their own electricity."
I'm telling them, build your own plant.
Just build,
Google announced they're doing this week. They're building one.
Their own power plant?
Yeah, I didn't know what to make of this. This was weird because I think he's right that the electricity costs going up is a big concern with the data center proliferation. But is the answer tell the big tech companies to build their own power plants because they'll build nuclear plants? People aren't going to be happy about that either.
No.
Yeah, well, I think that's what was the energy plan loosely for this data centers. They don't know how much energy they're going to use. So if they go beyond whatever the usage is for Excel, they have to build their own substation to power this thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a fascinating issue. I mean, it was kind of a fun story this week.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, more news. We're back. We're talking Douglas County. Heading over to good old Dougco. Earlier this week, Douglas County, the Board of Commissioners passed an ordinance requiring retailers to report shoplifting crimes within 4 days of a crime. They can also report these crimes online now through a portal instead of having to call the police. The original ordinance, which I think was proposed in January, required businesses to report within 24 hours or face fines. So they pushed that to 4 days. And also the original ordinance said they could be fined up to $1,000 for not reporting. As of right now, the ordinance says that the punishment will be up to the courts. I don't even know where to start with this.
This is dumb. It's so dumb.
I don't know where to start. I don't get it.
I think my theory of where all of this came about is you remember all those videos online of people just walking and robbing Walgreens and stuff, and they can't run after them. Yeah. It came about, I think, from this no chase policy. And it's not that the stores are telling them don't report the crime. They're saying don't stop the robbery. Don't put yourself in danger. Let it go and then report it. But I think that the hysteria came from some of that. But it's weird. It's like you're punishing the victim.
Yeah.
The business.
Yeah, the business.
You are the victim of shoplifting, and now we're fining you for not reporting the shoplifting.
Yeah, you've already lost money, and now we're going to take more money.
This is what they want law enforcement to be doing all day?
How do you know?
Following up on petty theft reports?
How do you know if someone, if you find out afterwards that stuff was stolen for the day and you have no idea, and you didn't report it, are you going to be in trouble because you didn't know?
That was a comment from one of the business owners. They were like, well, I can call you, but I don't know what they've stolen yet, so I can't really give you any information on what has happened in my store where there's been a crime. Paul, what's your take on this?
I mean, I don't know this as well as you do, Bree, so I kind of want to hear just you talk about it. But I will say I appreciated the 9 News reporting for specifically about this Commissioner Kevin Van Winkle. who was one of the people who voted on this, who like said, when he voted, he said, I've come around from the first reading, and hopefully those we hear from today will distinguish between what was originally proposed and what is actually being passed today, which is free of fines and penalties and all that stuff. But it is not free of fines and penalties and all that stuff. 9 News reports.
I love
And then the other thing they pointed out about this Van Winkle guy is he passes this thing that allows for fines on businesses for not reporting shoplifting. And then they looked and found when he was a state representative in 2021, Democrats were passing a law at the state level imposing fines on gun owners for not reporting stolen guns. And Van Winkle said at the time, the law passed by the majority Democrats in the state legislature simply re-victimized an already victim. A home was broken into and you have several items missing, among them being a firearm. The police then come after that person, charge that person. It doesn't make sense.
There was a quote from George Brockler, who's the DA for the county, who will have no role in enforcing the ordinance. But he said, I'm not a big government guy. I'm not looking for the government to step in and be coercive on parts of our lives that we don't need to be. So I'm supportive of this effort to the extent that it encourages people to report theft. I think this is exactly big government.
It does feel like
he's not a big government guy because he's a right-wing talk show host now. So that statement didn't make sense to me either. I was like, but you're putting it on. The government is attempting to punish business owners for crimes committed against them. I don't understand this.
The other thing they might be responding to with this is there have been a lot of stories and there's been a lot of data presented that says that shoplifting is up across the country.
Is it? Because I can't get anything in the store without calling someone to open the glass there. I got to get underarm deodorant.
We're City Camp Supers. They're responding to it too. They've hired these security guards. They're worried about it.
The last big report I could find was 2023. And so that was looking at 2022. There hasn't been actually a ton of data that hasn't been looked at lately. So I honestly couldn't find anything even 2024 recently enough. The Common Sense Institute did share some data.
From the Colorado Bureau of Investigation.
Right.
And so the Common Sense Institute, obviously conservative think tank.
Right.
They're going to put a spin on it. They have a recommendation to increase penalties on retail theft. But the underlying data is from the state.
Because the other two places I was finding data that was more recent was 2 lobbying groups for retail companies. So I was like, I just can't trust that either. But this is at least what Common Sense Institute said was Douglas County is number 5 out of top 10 counties of reported incidents of shoplifting crimes. I think they were up 12%. They were up 12% from 2023 to 2024. Compared to Adams County, which was up 29%.
Yeah.
And Adams County's
the big one.
Adams County's reported thefts for 2024 were 5,599, while Douglas were 1,700. Huge. Also, I think maybe we're looking at a smaller amount of businesses reporting too.
Yeah. The headline of this report, though, is the answer to the question, which is they say shoplifting is way, way, way up in 2024.
Yes, 1.3 billion gone. How retail theft is draining Colorado's economy. I just don't feel like there's enough context there to say that is doing that much damage.
That's the numbers. That's the what that it says. Colorado Bureau of Investigations. That's the data.
The other thing I was finding,
wage theft or retail theft.
Ooh, great question.
That's what I was saying. What about other kinds of theft? And so
both bad.
I think from the retail employee perspective, I thought a lot about this because I thought, what did we do when theft happened when I worked at the Gap? Well, generally, if you did think you were seeing someone doing it, you were instructed to go over and give them excellent customer service, right? This is a pretty old trope for retail. Try to let them know that you're on them, right? And then, of course, we have walkie-talkies like we're the CIA. So we're like, okay.
I'm now going to be suspicious every time someone comes up to me and says,
I know,
I help you, sir? I'd be
it's terrible.
I'm not stealing
anything.
That's why that must be
I'm giving away retail secrets. This is training 101.
I get offended when they come up to me because I'm like, do you think I'm stealing something?
Yeah.
I'm just looking.
But because I think part of this too is if retail theft is up, I think a big part of it is there aren't enough people on the floor. And this has been a conversation too, is they're not hiring enough people to watch the floor. Also, what is it with the rates with self checkouts are terrible. And it's not just theft.
Really?
It's like people just don't even use it correctly.
Yeah.
And that happens to me every time I'm at King Soopers.
Yes. The other day I rang up, there was a piece of salmon on sale and then another regular price one. And I accidentally rang the on sale one up twice. And I was like, just do it. Just take the salmon. But then I got so afraid.
And
I
then
was
you
like,
told the guy,
can you come and adjust it? Because they didn't ring up right. Like, no one would have known.
well, I'll have like a coupon that doesn't work and they'll come over and be like, whatever, I'll just put it in.
Yeah.
You know, so there's all these other factors that I feel like aren't being put in. But so other than that, that's like the thing you see. But when you actually saw someone stealing, you were instructed not to do anything. That very rarely happened. I rarely ever saw that. What you did see was after the fact. I worked in the fitting rooms. That was like my main job. Was you would go into a fitting room to clean up and pick up go backs, and there would be hidden behind the mirror just a pile of security tags and tags. Then you take all those to your manager, and then they write them down, and then they package them up, and then they send them to corporate, which who probably just throws them in the trash. But like that's how they recorded it. So there was a lot of after the fact. But I just like I don't know how me reporting that would faster would change things for anybody.
Can I ask you about that? Because we're talking about this as if Dougco's trying to fix the retail theft problem, but I think what the guys who supported this measure would say is that, and there's quotes from 9 News that they said they're trying to fix the reporting, because another thing the Common Sense Institute said, and again, grain of salt, is that underreporting with retail theft is a huge problem. So no one actually knows the scale of the issue. That's why it's a hard problem to solve, is because people don't report it. So I wanted to ask you about that. Is you just said you don't want to report it, or like there was some reasons why you wouldn't report it. Like why not?
Oh, not that I wouldn't report. I just didn't see it happening that often. But if you I didn't see the physical.
After the fact.
It was always discovered after the fact, and I was just saying that was the process.
What do you report if you don't know who did it? Like, I'm not a business, but someone stole my Amazon package the other day. My whole case of Texas Roadhouse steak sauce. So if you see anyone in the hood trying to sell Texas Roadhouse steak sauce.
You've mentioned this before, I think. You buy this Roadhouse sauce by the case.
I'm pissed because my man loves that stuff. He can drink it. So I bought him a gigantic case of it for Valentine's Day, and someone stole it from in front of the house. And so I'm on the lookout for my Texas Roadhouse steak sauce. But I'm it got stolen. It's gone. Do I report it? No, I guess you could. That would be the protocol. I could call the police and these packages are stolen. And they go, all right. And then I never hear about it again. It wasted my time. I had to wait 6 hours for the police to even show up.
And that's what that's also, I think, what some business owners were saying too, is I can call you, but then I wait 6 hours for you to come. Person's long gone.
Yeah, my days.
Not, but I see what you're saying, Paul, is their point is they want to be able to just track that information.
Yeah, I think that's what they're concerned with. I mean, I kind of also suspect it was what you said, Justine, about the no chase policy just not really feeling good to conservatives.
Yeah, they're like, what?
It just doesn't feel like justice.
You're
watching that, I guess.
Chase them down and with
also,
your gun.
I'm a minimum.
You're a good man with a gun.
Yeah.
And I'm a minimum wage employee. I'm not going to put my life on the line because someone stole a stack of sweaters from the Gap.
If you're a minimum wage employee, you're effectively a troop. That's what these conservatives want. You're the troops.
I guess.
You're on the front line.
You know what I'm dying about thinking about right now is
everyone, the gang, the shoplifters.
You know what this army looks like, Paul?
Shirt.
This is like me, my brother, the graffiti guy, my coworker Joe, who's 70 and just chills at the counter all day and eats candy. Our troops are not really the strongest set of folks.
Yeah, the poor Walmart greeter.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Who should be retired and have enough Social Security to stay home and have to stand at Walmart all night.
Exactly. Just don't put it on them. I think that's where I get a little bit frustrated. I'm don't put this on the people that are not really making that much money to begin with. And I also do feel for small business owners in this respect. This does suck.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know if this is really solving anything.
It's the big government people saying, let's put more government regulations on you. Because we saw too many of those videos of Rite Aid getting robbed with going through with trash bags, just stealing everything.
You just line a shopping bag with aluminum foil, and then you scrape all. That's what would happen at the Gap. Is people would come up and just do the sweep, all of the T-shirts or all the jeans, and then go because the aluminum keeps the alarms from going off.
Ooh, and then the boosters come to the hood and sell you school clothes.
Good tips.
Yep. I don't know if that's how it works anymore. I haven't worked in retail in
boosters,
but yeah.
I was thinking about this if I've ever shoplifted, and I was like, I don't have a good story to tell. But then when you talked about the steak sauce, the Roadhouse sauce,
Yeah.
I was like, wait, I actually do. At Chipotle, I would
Oh,
regularly
take the
steal
green.
the Chipotle Tabasco,
Yep.
that
Mhm.
smoked Tabasco.
Yeah, everyone did that.
Yeah.
I think.
I
Yeah.
I
mean,
love their solution
I
was
was
to
one
give
of
you
them.
a to-go ramekin and you just have to stand there and fill it up.
Yeah. Well,
Oh
I
my
do
gosh.
that now. I like to follow the rules when I can.
I had 1 week of being a shoplifter and I got caught, and I was so like, I never, like, my friend convinced me.
What'd they catch you
Pure
stealing?
pressure, like a hoodie or something stupid. But I was like, my friend convinced me, he's like, it's so easy, blah, blah. And I felt like the peer pressure. I was like, well, he's always stealing stuff and getting away with it. I'm like, well, maybe I can. So like that week I tried it once with him and I got away with it. And I was like, this is a rush. And so I did it
Nice.
again. And then by the third time my ass got caught and I got arrested and
Oh,
my mom
man.
had to come pick me up. I was like 15. My mom and dad had to come pick me up. And instead of saying anything, they were silent the whole
Oh,
ride
that's
home.
Oh,
And my mom was
mortifying.
like, my mom's two things, lying and thieves. So the shame was so great. I've never stolen anything again. I take the salmon back to correct the price. I am like so shamed. I still feel shamed. Like people think I'm stealing something to this day.
I know. It's like my Catholic guilt does not allow me to
No,
steal. I
it
can't.
messed me up. So I guess
think
in that
someone
way
is
the
watching.
system worked
Yeah,
because I got
guess so.
caught and I never stole again. But I'm thinking some of these people are like, it's not going to affect them the same way as it affected 15-year-old Justine, who
Yeah.
That would be
still feels
mortifying.
guilty in the store.
Well, we'll see how this pans out for Dougco if they get better numbers. I don't know.
Wish
I'm-
them a lot of luck.
Bless your
down
heart,
there. They're
Douglas
crushing it.
County.
I went and I looked for comments on this, by the way. I wanted to say this on their Facebook page on this new policy. Comments are turned off. I forgot we talked about that a few weeks ago. That's another cool thing they did recently in Douglas County.
So
Because their
whack.
people don't
No
agree with them
comments.
either.
Well,
They're
that's
like,
'cause they don't want to
"What?"
hear from people.
Yeah.
Híjole. All right. We're going to take one more break. And when we come back, our wins and fails of the week. Okay, we're back. It's time for our wins and fails of the week, our Rocky Mountain highs and lows, things that ruled, things that sucked. Justine, your fail this week.
Oh, my fail this week. Let's see. What was my fail? Oh, my fail this week. It takes us out of Denver to the other side of the Eisenhower Tunnel to the West Slope where
A little
there was
storytelling
we're
here.
traveling.
Yes,
This
we're
is fun.
traveling. I don't know if people saw this story, but there was like an email going around like sheriffs in the different towns there talking about Rep. Elizabeth Velasco and just like really nasty comments about her because she was attending an ICE out protest and they saw a sign of her. But you know, people, they can have their opinions on our
Mhm.
I
elected
wouldn't
officials.
do it in an email exchange with other elected officials.
They did it all in an email exchange with other sheriffs. And, you know, I just think it's a pattern of troubling behavior from law enforcement on that side of the state who have also been criticized recently because of the death cards, the Ace of Spades
Oh,
cards
yeah.
being left.
Yeah.
They were also involved with the,
I mean, that was ICE, I think. That was
but it's ICE, but they've also been collaborating with ICE and it's going against policy. So there's been a lot of investigation there. But I'm just this culture
I know.
of like these law enforcement on the West Slope. It's kind of scary and it's kind of gross. It's really gross, not kind of gross. And I just think that, you know, we should have better trust in our law enforcement that they're above, you know, all of this and they're there to protect and serve and not criticize people on political
Not send
nonsense or
terrible
ideas.
emails.
So, yeah. So that's my fail.
good fail.
Paul, your fail.
Okay, well, I'm going to take us north on I-25, past Boondocks, past Cinzetti's, and then we're going to swing a right over towards Greeley, where my fail goes to super rich conservative guy, Martin Lind, the CEO of Water Valley Development Company, big Boebert campaign donor. I think I talked about this briefly on the show a few months ago that this was happening, but it's a
You've
big
been watching
story
it, yeah.
in northern Colorado. Near where my in-laws live. And people should know this happened. So this guy, Lind, he's been trying to build a new arena for the minor league hockey team that he owns for a few years, the Colorado Eagles. That's the minor league team affiliate of the Avalanche. So some of the players go back and forth. And he's been striking out with these different districts until he convinced the city of Greeley to put together a massive $1.1 billion bond package. So the city would be taking out debt to pay him to build an arena for his team And then also a big old development around it, like housing and retail, and like just basically like make a huge new expansion of the city of Greeley to the west, closer to I-25, and a nice arena for him. He even flew some city leaders on his private plane to Texas to scout a similar project. So this was going forward. The city council voted for it. And then a citizen group organized, gathered more than 4,500 signatures in a city of about 115,000 people. So that is a big deal to send this project to the ballot, where they held a special election this Tuesday. Lind sued one of his opponents for defamation. Lawsuit thrown out. He then sued the city in an effort to nullify the election. And on Tuesday, he lost. Coloradan reports that the passage of the ballot issue is leading 54% to 46%. It is going down. One of the opponents says this is a historic win for every Greeley family that refused to let city leaders mortgage our future on a $1 billion gamble.
Wow.
What a huge win for the people of Greeley that fought this, and a huge fail for Martin Lind.
Shout out to my friend Amy McGrath's mom, Pam Bricker. She was the one that was sued for defamation.
Wow.
And this case was dismissed. And she was just like, my mom's been in Greeley since 1980. She loves this place. She just organized her community, and good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them.
You do wonder now where he's going to try to build this arena next.
We're full.
I don't think he's done.
We're full. So we already have two
Not
coming.
Yes,
Two new ones coming.
Don't bring it to me.
God.
Bree, your fail?
Ugh, my fail. I'm going to take us back, zoom back into the city.
Okay.
To a little insane intersection at Alameda and Knox Court, where the super big discount Mercado closed like 6 months ago. Massive space. Some would say looks much like a grocery store size. And it's been boarded up. And I found out recently that it's going to become a QuikTrip gas station.
Oh.
And so I was like, what the WTF? I thought we passed a gas station moratorium ordinance. I reached out to my city council person, Jamie Torres. Her office immediately responded and were like, you are correct. There is a moratorium. They got their permit in a month before the moratorium went into effect. I said, isn't this counter to the Southwest Area Plan that was just passed that prioritizes things like grocery stores and green space over gas stations? And she said, yes, but technically it was not something that was going to go in front of city council. So it is unfortunately going forward. And I'm just bummed that we're getting another gas station across from a gas station, and in a neighborhood that could really use another. There's tons of great markets around, but like the Mi Pueblo burned down on Knox. I don't know, 7 years ago.
I didn't even know that. The one right on Knox, right in the corner.
Right at first Knox. I literally lived across the street from it. It has been just in that suspended state of being burned down for over half a decade.
Wow.
And I think a grocery store would have been awesome. And we're getting another gas station instead. Wow. So that's my fail. I'm bummed.
Yeah, everyone just wants a grocery store. I heard someone at the town hall, that was one of the things someone yelled at the town hall this week was, give us a grocery store.
We're like, GES.
We just want a grocery
asking
store.
for that forever.
I just want a grocery store, please.
Ugh. Okay, let's end on our wins. Paul, what's your win?
You know, I realized I was going to make the Greeley thing a win and say it a win for the people. So I'm going to give my win instead to the fine people of Humane Colorado. A couple weeks ago, my wife and I, we adopted a kitten.
What's your kitten's name again?
We call him Fonty.
Oh, cute.
How's it going?
He's gray. He has little white boots in the back. He's very cute. He's a little bitey.
Oh.
He's a little bitey. My hands are a little...
Paul was trying to act like he didn't have, like, wasn't telling us this. It was just like there was like something happening in his Zoom calls every once in a while. And then finally it was like, oh, we got a cat. I was like, I knew that.
Oh,
he's very cute.
Zooms.
He's nice. He's a good cat.
He's adorable.
Yeah.
Also, shout out Humane Colorado.
Yeah.
The other thing about him is he loves the toilet.
Oh, the actual toilet?
He loves the toilet.
They love cold water, that cool water.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Maybe that's the thing. Yeah, he just like nibbles on the toilet seat.
It's former Denver Dumb Friendly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, I know that name.
Bree?
Well, I'll go. My win this week is it's a bittersweet win. My son got into the school that we hoped was his number one choice in the school choice. And that part is great, but I don't love that I can't send my child 4 blocks down the street to the school in my neighborhood because its ratings are terrible. And I just wish that we could fund all schools equally, but we can't. So cheers to my son getting into the school we wanted to. Now we just have to drive him 15 minutes every day, which is not the greatest, but I'm really excited.
Man, that's getting into the school that you want is like a process. Like so many parents are.
Yeah, and the balance too is like I want to pick a school that may not be getting closed anytime soon, which is a lot of the schools around us. So it's like banking on that. Even if you love the school, is the enrollment going down? Are they going to close? So you have to send them somewhere else. So a bittersweet moment, but we got in. So that's my win.
It's nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
Justine, what's your win?
My win this week was that after decades of criticism from the Indigenous community, the Westerniers are going to end their portrayal of Native dancing in their shows that are often not actual Native people dancing. And a lot of as someone who grew up with a father who hates Buffalo Bill, we don't romanticize the West, the winning of the West. And a lot of times these performances would do that, and they do like a reenactment of the Little Bighorn battle. But this actually really came about last year as two young Indigenous sisters joined the Westerniers because they were really interested in horses and getting involved. And they were really taken aback when they saw this dancing that was part of it, and they brought attention to it. So the win is that the Westerniers finally agreed to get rid of that program. The only kind of like part that ruins it a little is that they really only did it because they got a lot of pressure from the president of the National Western Stock Show.
They only stopped doing it because of that pressure.
And they basically told them, if you don't stop doing this program, it might jeopardize your ability to perform in the stock show. So they went ahead, and that's like their Super Bowl of the year. So they made sure that they did that. But either way, it's still a win to get rid of that, harmful portrayal of the West, and make sure that Indigenous groups are being respected, and that their customs, their cultures, their regalia is not being exploited. So it's a win.
Yeah, I blurbed this for our newsletter earlier this week. I think it's really interesting, and the stock show piece was fascinating because that new leader, Wes Allison, the new CEO, I met him and his wife. His wife is a total firecracker. I loved her, but the fact that he's taking over, and maybe he was listening to these complaints, or maybe he saw them or reassessed or something. I kind of suspect that. But
it was after he actually attended a city council meeting, they said, where he heard one of the sisters speak on it. And then he took that and really pushed to them, and he reached out to the family. So that was positive, I think. And so, that's a good look for the
That's a big
Western
thing too for
stock show
to ask.
Yeah, they're listening.
It'll be interesting to follow that guy.
Yeah.
He has a great mustache as well.
It's a big thing to ask kids though to get up and speak about stuff like that. So that's pretty incredible too.
Shout out to them for pushing and making that change.
Yeah. Well, Justine, Paul, thank you so much.
See you next time, Bree.
Thank you.
That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. Our producers this week were Paul Karolyi, Olivia Jewelove, and Adrian Gonzalez. We recorded Dude IDK Studios in 5 Points with support from Jacob Rupp and Nick Holmby. Peyton Garcia and Natalia Aldana write our morning newsletter. Abby Madigan runs our social media, and I'm Bree Davies, your host. Our music is by Los Mocochetes with additional mixing by Tyler Lindgren. If you haven't already, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at CityCast Denver, and tell Martin Lind about us next time you see him. You can sign up for our daily newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. See you next week.